All right, my cold-blooded army. Hope you guys are having an awesome week. Hope you're ready for Thanksgiving and for just a good time with family and friends and be able to relax and have a little bit of time to kind of refocus your life and figure out and think about what it is that you're thankful for, what it is that God has blessed you with. I am taking my kids camping for Thanksgiving. It's going to be the first time we've done that, and so we're doing the full Thanksgiving dinner over the fire, so it's going to be interesting and kind of cool. I do always take the time when I'm out with them, though, in the woods to talk about how God made stuff and why he made it certain ways. And so that has me kind of thinking about the message for this week. So I want to talk to you guys about how God made some of the reptiles and why he made them the way that he did, and just the perfect design that he had for them. Because we all have that design for our lives, and so do obviously the animals. And obviously I cannot do every single animal. Everything was made for some purpose. Everything was designed by God to fulfill a certain role. And so I can't go animal by animal, but I'm going to show some of the top ones that we have here and kind of give a glimpse as far as why they are designed the way that they are. And it's, you look at reptiles in general, and it's so awesome that they made snakes with a shedding skin. Like, it's not just a growth thing. They shed so that way they can get rid of the parasites. They can get ticks off of them. They get mites off of them and leave those and go kind of start fresh. They get new skin regenerated under the old skin, so that way if they have scars, if they have burns, if they have anything like that, it can have a chance to heal. They shed their eye caps as well. That way they can have just fresh skin on that. And so, and even, you look at them when they start to shed, and we call it going into blue because their eyes turn kind of a grayish blue color. It's because their body excretes like this kind of, basically like a natural lotion. It's like a milky substance, and it helps their skin it puts a layer between them and their old skin and kind of helps it to shed off. And so little things like that where they're just absolutely perfectly designed. You can look at the fact that they only have to eat once a month when they're older, sometimes once a year, depending on how big they get. And just the slow metabolism, the fact that they don't have to be constantly going, they're cold-blooded, so they don't have to burn calories, maintaining their temperature, just all these awesome things that God designed them to do. So I'm going to go over a few of the ones that we have here that are really cool and see what you guys think. If you have any questions on anything or any concerns on anything, please feel free to reach out. We are always happy to answer questions. Hope you guys like it. Oh! As far as our snakes go, this is one of my favorites by far. This isn't a color morph, this isn't anything special except for just a beautiful snake. This is our Dumeral's ground boa. This is our big female. We have a little male we're going to breed to her hopefully within the next few years. And these guys are so beautiful. They have this cool pattern on them, and that is perfect for helping them to blend in with leaf matter and things like that on the ground, to where they have just the different browns and kind of reds and colors. And so they are, even though it doesn't look like it, perfectly adapt for blending in. The other cool thing about these guys is they will use their little tail there, and they do what is called caudal luring, where they will take it and just kind of wiggle it back and forth like that, and it will catch the attention of stuff that's around it. And so little mice and rodents and lizards, anything around them, will come and check that out and try and get a bite. And so it provides them with an easy meal. And they're one of the only snakes that do that. You look at stuff like colubrids, and they'll do the mimicry where they shake their tail against dry leaves to make a bunch of noise and kind of scare stuff off like rattlesnakes do. But they are definitely not the same. Another cool thing about these guys is that these guys are completely terrestrial, and they have a pretty flat head. And that's perfect for burrowing down. She's usually buried under the bedding. She loves being under there, and so kind of woke her up this morning. But they are perfectly designed to be able to dig and burrow themselves down and leave just their head and just the tip of the tail sticking up so they can wiggle it around and try and catch their food. So these guys are absolutely perfectly designed. Alright, you're not going to hear most reptile people talk about this, but the truth is we have to look at mice and rats when it comes to God's perfect design. These guys can survive absolutely anywhere in any type of thing. Not only survive, but they can strive and grow and reproduce and just be absolutely incredible. You have a bunch of little babies growing up, and it is really cool to see. But you look at these guys surviving in the wild where there's minimal food, minimal water, it is super hot, super cold, and somehow they still manage to make it. So these guys are so well designed and so absolutely incredible, and they are just able to take over and be anywhere and anything that they need to be, and they can use anything and everything around them to build a home and have a life. which is pretty cool. All right, you guys, we're going to talk about perfect design. We've got to talk about chameleons. These guys are so absolutely incredible. This is Mr. Angry, and he is looking beautiful today. One of the cool things about these guys, these are our veiled chameleons, and obviously they're named that way because of the big veil that they have. And so you can see, you can see how he has the big veil. Yeah, that's Mr. Angry for you. And what they will do on that veil is they will actually use that when they get wet or when it rains on them. That will channel water down to their mouth, and it allows them to have water and to be able to drink, which is super, super cool. This guy is ready to breed. His colors are absolutely insane. I've never seen him like this before. And so he's looking beautiful today. They have just a great ability to be able to change colors, and people think that they are can completely change their surroundings, and they can't. They don't have the chromatophores for that, but they are able to go much lighter or much darker depending on their mood, breeding season, anything going on. So that is really, really cool. And these guys have the eyes that can look multiple directions. They do have somewhat of a prehensile tail, and although it's not true prehensile, they can use it for balance, for some gripping, for some balance, and usually they'll wrap that around stuff. And these guys are just absolutely beautiful, incredible testament to God's design. I'm gonna leave him alone because he's getting a little crumpy, and see if we can get Yoda out of here. The other thing obviously is the ability to use that massive tongue, which we'll show you. To catch food. They have these little toes that are absolutely insane on these guys. You can see them going there, and they grip just like that. And they have little claws that can dig into stuff pretty well. But they have great balance, great strength on there, and they can do anything that they need to do. We have a jungle gym set up for them in their cages so that way they can climb around. That's a little more natural. But like I said, the coolest thing about them I think has to be that big veil that they can use to get water down. I want to talk about all the gecko species in general real fast. And so these guys, one of the awesome things about most geckos, obviously their ability to climb on stuff, these guys are African fat-tailed geckos. And some of the smaller species like day geckos and things like that can actually adhere to flat surfaces like glass. These guys can climb up pretty much anything but not glass. They're a little too heavy for that, and they don't have the right feet for it. But what these guys can do is actually drop their tails as a survival tool. And so if they are getting attacked by something or they have something chasing, they can drop their tail. These guys also have a really awesome natural ability to thrive, which is so cool to see. They like it a little more humid, but they can definitely go more on the dry side. They're closely related to things like the leopard geckos, who can lick their eyeballs to get moisture. These guys have, part of the reason their tails are so big is for safety. So sometimes it'll look like a head, but it's also a big time fat storage in there. These guys are really well adapted to pretty much being able to survive in anything they need to. Alright, so I thought about talking about dogs a little bit as far as God's perfect design, but God made something perfectly designed and we as humans kind of screwed that up. So, they were made to be apex predators and to be hunters and to be everything wonderful, and we turned them into these little toy things in some cases where they have noses that are so squished up that they can't really breathe right, and they have back issues because some of their bodies are too long. So it's, it is what it is. But one thing that has not changed are cats. And yes, they have changed. Yes, we have designer breeds. But for the most part, these guys are still so incredibly well designed that they can fall from pretty much any height and land on their feet. And more importantly than land on their feet, they can go without being damaged. They can great ability to see in the night. This cat's a butthole, he's gonna bite me. But he's worse than some of the reptiles. The ability to see in the night, ability to have great sense of smell, great hearing, and just be able to scavenge and find food with anything they need to. And they get spoiled because they obviously get a cat diet, but they can hunt, they can eat rotting stuff, they can do pretty much anything and still survive, which is pretty well designed. I'm not a huge cat person. This is the ex-wife's cat, but can't really argue with the fact that these guys are incredibly well made. Oh, buddy. I was talking about how we've kind of ruined dogs. We've played our part in that too. We have a pair of Pyrenees, and these guys are absolutely incredible. You know, you put them outside and they will follow a fence line, they will protect a flock, they will do anything they can. They're bred to be guardian dogs, and we kind of ruined them. This is the extent of their terrain. This is what they guard. Usually one of them's on the bed, the other one's on the couch. Now they're both on the couch. So it's a absolutely rough life. You can tell we abuse them and we treat them so horribly. Please don't report us. It's be awesome. You did a good job on it. You worked hard on it.
I don't want my cookie. Daddy, don't do that.
The only other snake I really wanted to showcase, I did think about doing the big pythons, and they are so cool with the 2 rows of massive teeth and just the sheer strength that they have and the size. But the other one I really wanted to show was this little guy, our emerald tree boa. And these guys are so incredibly well made. These guys are a little bit thinner species of snake, as you can see. And it's because they're made to spend their life in the trees. They're pretty much completely arboreal. They stay up there all day long, and they are very well adapted for that. They have the longest teeth of any non-venomous snake. They'll hit about 1 inch long, and that is so they can grab onto meals the rare times that they come by, and things that are fast moving like birds they can grab onto and hold. This guy will grab on to mice that are down the bottom of the cage and hang on by just the tip of his tail. They're incredibly strong, incredibly fast, incredibly intelligent, and just beautiful, beautiful example of God's perfect design. All right, so I'm here to talk about God's perfect design for animals without bringing up our beautiful little dial monitor. These guys are absolutely perfectly designed for so many different things. They do have that long paddle-like tail that's tall and flat and skinny that they can use to get through the water. And also use that as a nasty little whip and slap people with it, or slap, I guess, predators with it. Not really people is the goal for that one. It just happens that I get whacked every once in a while. These guys are incredible climbers, incredible diggers as well. You can see, if you'll let me show them off, these guys have some incredible little claws on them. And they can use those for getting up trees, for digging holes, for digging up nests to eat eggs, anything they need to do. They do have a somewhat pointy head, which is great, makes them more agile for getting through the trees, makes them great for getting through the water, for digging and burrowing, anything that they need to do. Right, like I said, they do have just a great ability to be able to swim. These guys will use that flat tail, and it gets them through the water so easily. They tuck their legs into their side, and they do the alligator thing and just kind of slither through the water, just like a snake. It's absolutely incredible. Let's see if we can get him to do it for us here. But these guys are so incredibly well designed. God definitely did a good job with them. And of course, I think that about pretty much any reptile. But super, super cool to watch these guys in action. Come here, buddy. And this guy's calming down too, just in case you're wondering. His claws. There he goes. It's so cool to watch that. Alright, last one we are going to show off of all the animals that we have, of all the critters. These guys are probably my favorite. These are our little axolotls. We have our leucistic back there and our little golden up here. And we have a wild in there somewhere. It's pretty much all around. These guys have been heavily studied and researched because they have an ability to regenerate like pretty much no other animal can. They can actually regenerate bones. And so like if they lose a leg, they'll not only regenerate like a nub back like some things will, but they'll actually regenerate the bone inside. They've done tons and tons of studies on these guys. And they can actually remove most of the brain and it will come back and grow back, which is absolutely crazy. And so they've used these a lot for trying to study potential for using them with humans and how we can learn how to harvest that and use that for us. Here's our little wild. One of the cool things they did with these guys is that they, for some reason, spliced them with jellyfish DNA. And because of that, there's something within the jellyfish DNA that glows under a black light. And so this guy, the wild, he will have, his eyes will glow under a black light, and then a few random spots will. Our golden over here, pretty much her whole body will glow, which is really neat. And I don't remember the point of that study or why they did that. But these guys are absolutely insane. They thought that they were the unmetamorphosized tiger salamanders for a long time, and then they realized that they were just their own little thing. And so they were, axolotl translate in Spanish to Mexican walking fish. They're from some little lake in Mexico, and it's pretty much the only place you can find them. They've kind of specific requirements for what they need with the water, and so in the wild they do not exist in a whole lot of places. But of all the things that we have, these guys are some of the coolest, most insanely designed, and by far one of the most interesting. Alright guys, I hope that you have a wonderful and blessed Thanksgiving, that your time with your family and friends is incredible and just that you build great memories, enjoy the time with them, and enjoy it while you have it, because it's not all guaranteed to last forever. If we can ever do anything for you, if we can support you in any way, shape, or form, please feel free to reach out. And if you, we're happy to help. We're happy to serve and to support you guys and lift you up in any way that we can. I love you guys. May be blessed to be blessing those around you. We'll catch you next time.